Good morning, traders. This is Barry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 3 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, uh, January 16th. It is OPEX Day, right? Monthly OPEX. So as we look back at yesterday's session, um, the overnight was pretty strung out and sketchy, and then we just had a little bit of a push up for the ES over those overnight highs, and then developed some supply. Uh, the Nasdaq, I think, pushed up maybe by a tick or two. I don't know, and then just kind of rolled back after we built that supply, right? Just kind of trickled down a little bit, and it looks like we're just right back up in the meat of that now. In the overnight session tonight, we'll get into that in a minute. Looking at where the ETFs and the indexes went, we got up to basically the weekly call wall at 627 for the Qs, and that excuse me, and that was the lid for the Nasdaq, right? And then as we look at the ES, we had a split in the distribution in the auction before, a little excess above 70.15 quarter, and that's really where we peaked out at. Just couldn't push through that, and that ends up being right around that 69.75, which had a lot of gamma on it yesterday for the SPX, and then right back below 69.50. Uh, Same thing for the SPY. 695 was your daily call wall, and you could not push through that. Just kind of trickled back down towards 690, hitting 691. So before we get into technicals, let's just look at what we've got on tech. There's nothing really scheduled today. Some FOMC members are out yabbering, but I really don't think that's going to move the tape, and we'll get into that in a second. Uh, but as we look at next week, we got, the World Economic Forum. Once in a while there's a headline that comes out of that, but not normally. That's usually not market impacting. And then as we kind of scroll down through the week, probably the big event for next week uh, is going to be the State of the Union by Donald Trump on Wednesday the 21st, and that's going to start right at 8:30 in the evening. So, we'll be digesting that in that overnight session, and then all of Thursday, whatever goes on there, and then they'll be handicapping whether whatever he's trying to push out can get through Congress and blah 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 blah, and then we can be talking about all that stuff for the next 4 months as it happens or doesn't happen. Uh, and then really not a lot going on the rest of the week. So that is it. So we know that President Trump hasn't been happy with interest rates. Right now, they're currently between 350 and 375. They're not expected to move right until June of next year. And the way I look at it, I would say they're not expected to move until September is the way I handicap this. And then you could get, a move, that could be all you get for the year because I don't see another one the way I handicap it on the books at all. So it looks like right now you've got September next year priced in, and that's it. Uh, so as we look at, that'll change obviously with the new, uh, Powell's term is up in May, and you know, if they've got to confirm someone and get him in there, and then he's out. He could stay on for another uh, year or so while they're waiting to confirm someone, but we'll see about that. So, anyways, not a lot going on, right? And as we look at untested points of control, yesterday's point of control 70.10. Uh, we fell under that, so we'll see if we can get in the early goings if we can get over 70.10 or not on the ES, and that'll be a tell. Uh, the untested point of control going back to Wednesday is at 69.44, so that's your kind of range that we've got right now. And then as you look, I know I've been beating on this every day, but these patterns are still sitting here. They have not broken yet. So, uh, you know, top of the range, bottom of the range. And, I thought maybe we'd go somewhere after we had that 5, 6 day pullback on Wednesday, that maybe that would be the case. So we'll see if, I'm not saying that we haven't got out of the top of the range, if we're not going to get out of the top of the range, but uh, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of momentum. Uh, we are in the value area for all the indexes. After, the Russell kind of screeched up with some positive or some bullish poor structure, right? While the indexes streaked down late in the day, they had that shakeout, and we're back above that now. So, those traders at the end of the day that we're piling on to shorts, thinking that we're going to get some good shorts, and they'd be cashing their checks this morning. They're in for a rude disappointment as the bell opens. I'm sure they're already questioning their decisions in life. So as we look at, really what's going on here, we're still, and I said this on Tuesday or Wednesday, we're stuck in the cash market between 6,900 and 7,000 until proven otherwise. We closed yesterday at 69.44. We're up 9 points. So we'd be right about the middle of that, 100-point range that we're in. So we're up above, a little bit above 69.50, uh, just sitting here. And then we'll see, maybe, if we're going to float up, we could get between 60 and 80. Uh, you know, Potentially, if we have a lot of momentum, you could, get a tag and a pin of that 7K or whatever. But, more than likely, we're going to sit around the 69.75 or the 69.25 later in the day. Potentially even 69.50. I might not even really play this OPEX day. The last two, I've got overzealous and I haven't traded the best. So we'll see. If I do anything, I'm going to trade small today. So normally on an OPEX, you get one of two scenarios. You get ping ponging, right? You get, fast movement that goes from one large gamma area to another large gamma area while they try to cancel out trades, or while they try to get traders to scratch trades, right? Or traders that were in bad positions just scratch their trades. Um, as they get an opportunity into OPEX. So you can get ping ponging between gamma levels, or if you can get the VIX really one time framing, you can get either a positive feedback loop or a negative feedback loop into the close. Uh, but all it takes is someone, throwing out, really tens of thousands of options positions, taking them off the books to turn that market. It's usually a little bit choppy, and it can be, while it can be technical, it can be very non-technical today. So I think you don't have as big of an edge uh, as you normally would on an OPEX day is what I'm trying to get to. So what I'm going to be watching just to watch these large gamma areas, see what's going on. We're in value, so see if we're above the points of control. And I'm sure Jack will get into it, but I just love his study so much. We're currently right above the mids uh, on the Nasdaq and the ES after closing uh, below them yesterday. After closing below the upper mid yesterday, right? Still didn't get down to the mid, so we'll see if we crossing back below the mid and holding under it, right? Might give you that scenario for a little bit of a trend down, and then see if that mid ends up being resistance or whatever. But you've got to get the VIX up over the mid at that point as well. So we'll see what we get today. Uh, let that opening range and that initial bounce kind of let it shake out. I mean, I think if you really want to do something today, try to pick one or two trade locations and walk away from the market at the opening bell, come back around 5 after 10, analyze, pick one setup, take it, and then be done, right or wrong. I hope this helps. You guys have a great day. I'll talk to you on Monday.